Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Celestial Goodness. Thank you for being here and joining me in this space and on this journey. I truly appreciate your presence even more than ever. The last couple of weeks have been a whirlwind of so much for me that have included, I think, every spectrum of emotion and also just moving, so physically moving. And that can be very tiring. I think in adulthood, that's probably my least favorite adulting thing to do. But it's done, so I'm setting up my space and getting adjusted. And in the meantime, I just wanted to check in, see how everyone was doing, and also leave you with this video. I'd actually written it up a while ago and just didn't get the time, and then all my stuff was packed up. So all of that to say, so happy to see you. Hope you're all doing okay. I hope it will be a wonderful week for each of us. And so, knots. Yes, knots. What does this have to do with anything? Well, as I was packing, I was trying to untangle some of my jewelry, which I usually have on a little stand anyway, but one of my favorite necklaces got so tangled. And if you're like me, you have encountered at least one knot in your life, whether literally or figuratively. So when I did start to write this up, I initially said I wouldn't say I consider myself an expert in untangling knots, but after some reflection on some of the situations that I've been in my life, I am at a minimum above average in untangling a mess. So recently I sat to untangle some of my jewelry, and I have no clue how jewelry gets tangled up. It's almost like the pieces come alive and they say, "Hey, do you want to tangle with me?" And in the middle of some steamy jewelry tango, they get so entangled that it seems impossible to untangle them. In this case, I think I had just gotten lazy to unpack them properly, and so I normally travel with the jewelry. I'll have a pill container, and instead of putting pills in, I put each necklace or a ring in its own little pod. And this usually means that things don't get tangled. It's brilliant. Whoever thought about that, kudos to them. Now, did I do that? No, absolutely not. That would have been way too easy and just too much right. So instead, I threw all of my jewelry into a little bag together and kept it moving. So much to my chagrin, when I was actually ready to pack them for moving and to wear them again, they're all tangled up in naughty bliss. I ended up finding 2 necklaces and 2 bracelets together in what I thought was the impossible knot. My first thought was one of despair. How did this happen? Should I blame the jewelry for being so naughty? No. In reality, it was my own fault. And then I was like, well, maybe I should cut this necklace or the bracelet. That's not practical. I actually did get the scissors to try and cut one of the bracelets, and I just saw that embroiling the scissors in this mess would really leave the sharp edges of the scissors very jagged. And there is a lesson there. If you are like the scissors, you come to realize in life that even if you seemingly have the ability to cut away another person's problems, that sometimes you entangling yourself only serves to cause you harm. Sometimes you need to stay out of another's entanglement, and sometimes you have to let what's unfolding in another person's life play out so that they can learn the lessons that they need to. Now back to the knot, which was a product of my own creation. Like some of our life problems, we create them. I saw the red flags. I knew that if I put these jewelry pieces together that this could happen, and it did. Sometimes we see the red flags, and yet we continue on with something. Why do we do that? I don't know. But again, back to the knot. I sighed and I looked at the knot deeply. Where do you even begin with a problem like this? I looked at each part, and then I began to see where things could be loosened. Once I did that, I was able to follow the end of one necklace and focus on that part. Sometimes we have to take a problem apart bit by bit, and sometimes we have to give a problem our intense and intentional focus. I worked on one section at a time, slowly, mumbling to myself at first, but then I sort of zoned into the task at hand. What did I learn? Sometimes to clear a knot, you have to let go. Yes, letting certain parts of the mess fall naturally showed where things had some slack. These were the areas that were begging to be loosened, and that the areas that really were the most easy to resolve. At other places, I needed to tighten the area, and in all stages of this, I had to be patient. The problem with this knot was that it was multiple smaller knots that added up to the larger one. Taking care of small problems before they become too big can actually help to prevent problems from getting worse. There was also, like I said, a major lesson in patience for me. The minute that I thought I was close to untangling my mess and got impatient, I made another knot. Frustration begats frustration. If you need to walk away and come back to an issue, sometimes that is truly what you have to do. Applying this to relationships and to any situation in your life, a cool head can prevent many a crazy situation from escalating. Patient application, learning by trying, seeing what worked and what didn't, and then having the willingness to try new solutions helped immensely. As I sat doing this, I thought, wow, life operates in such a similar fashion. We might find ourselves entangled in some knotty mess. Maybe it's because we're negligent on something, or maybe because we chose to ignore the red flags, that this situation could evolve and unfold in a certain way. Sometimes we just find ourselves in the middle of it. And in the time that I have been alive, I have learned that many problems are solvable. Someone I once heard said, everything is figure-outable. And I agree. With effort and patience, we can figure things out. If you find that one thing doesn't work, don't be afraid to try something else. Eventually, you will free the knots and hopefully learn a good lesson in the process. And yes, sometimes the lesson is to let go. Sometimes we have to let go. There's a true beauty and a true courage in that. So I hope that if you have a problem this week and you are trying your best to find the solution, the best solution for you, I hope that it unfolds. May the stars shine brightly over your week, and may it be a beautiful week indeed. And as always, if you are liking these blog posts and videos, please do subscribe, like, share, and leave comments. As I'm in a whole little transitional phase of my life, I would love to share whatever lessons that I'm learning with all of you about when new chapters unfold for us. So I would also love to hear from you. Thank you.